So you have to watch out about that swine flu. Okay, this crop circle was on June 28th, and this represented the sun again. This is the dark side, and this is us on the light side. These are dragon-type swords, and this N with the heart, or an O in the middle, and us. Nos in Latin, nos, means us. So we have to have the joining together of the dark and the light. And this part out here represents like the grape tendrils of hanging in there until we can get it joined together. This was in, again, Honey Street on June 27th. And I think the field was getting rather ripe at the time again. It's not quite in this nice formation. I wasn't able to interpret anything from it. It's just a 5-pointed star with the things about 5. And this one is a representation of 6. So 5 and 6 are very important numbers for us. Here we have, again, a picture of what looks like maybe sperm. There's 28 of them. But if you put it next to a picture of the sun and a sunspot, the center of a sunspot looks like that. The wiggly lines coming out of a sunspot. So again, this was telling us about a solar flare. And this hummingbird that appeared on this date is probably one of the Nazca lines on the plains of Peru, because it's very similar to the drawing that was seen from the airplanes in Peru. Here again we have a solar flare coming to hit our energy of the Earth, with a swallow or dove leading us out. And on this day, on June 5th, we had like an Indian headdress, or Quetzalcoatl, the serpent snake from the Aztecs and Mayans, with their symbols around it and the headdress on the snake. So now we're coming to July 7th, and this is how the sun actually looked with a solar flare. Now, it didn't affect us because the time that it hit the Earth was more on the southern hemisphere where most of the water is, and at the time, the United States and Mexico were turning into sunset. So most of this activity that came to the Earth went over the Pacific Ocean and didn't affect our communication as other solar flares have in the past. So now we go back to, say, the SETI project and the tetrahedron, the three triangle with 3 points with the point raised up in the middle. If you make this 3D, we have it as a tetrahedron. This crop circle got ruined before the first picture was taken. You see, the center is kind of like maybe a butterfly again. But you see this white part out here? The farmer got out there and drove his tractor around there and didn't let us see what was a part of the formation. So it was ruined before it was fully pictured. This again is telling us about a cycle of 28. There are 7 small dots, 7 bigger dots, 7 bigger circles, and 7 bigger circles. Here we have, again, the solar flares. But notice this stuff in the middle, how it's laid differently in the light. This is the next part that I discovered about the circles this year, was this lay. So if we were doing it, we would have a tough time making the wheat lay one way and another way and another way and another way, I would think. See how it is? Look at this lay. So they had to come down this way and lay the wheat that way. They had to go that way and lay the wheat that way. Then they had to come back and lay part of it that way, part of it that way, part of it this way, part of it that way, part of it that way. So in my Keys book, I found this thing about wave structure. Wave structure is what we're using, or what we're seeing in this cornfield or wheat field. And it says that crystals, in the Keys 2:16, verse 7, crystals are used by the higher evolution as a fundamental building block to set up a measurable grid of larger harmonic system, which allows for different combinations of wave structures to unite and form myriads of gravitational wave combinations, which in turn react with one another to transmit thought forms to physical planetary realities. So they're trying to give us a wave structure to transfer some thought forms. And it goes on to say, Metatron explained to me that this table of energy has a limited time scale of existence known as negative entropy. The negative entropy creates a vortex into which all life particles and their structures dissolve unless new wave structures are introduced. Where the new wave structures are introduced, the carrier medium is reused. So we have to raise our consciousness to get into a new wave structure. And as the Earth begins to send pain signals to higher thinking membranes of the brain, those pain signals are heard, and the new wave structures of light and love are sent back to make repairs necessary for life to continue. For the key to the life force of atomic and subatomic fields is love. So the key to everything is love, as we know. Not fear, but love. The more light and love man ingathers, the greater his evolution can be, so that he can expand and he will not be separated from the luminaries of righteousness and love, but will be strengthened by the luminaries of righteousness in the name of righteousness. And those are quoting the keys. Our local universe is now experiencing the death functions that are part particle, part wave, as higher frequency energies elevate our nuclear structure into a new holistic wave continuum based upon a new galactic light force. This will elevate spiritual man into a fifth dimensional being as he is taken off the present hydrogen-oxygen biosphere, which will no longer remain a water seltzer in our local sea of crystal, the Milky Way. So here again we have the wave structure. And if you notice coming up here in several crop circles, the next one, we have again a whole different like wave structure, or the structure of the way the wheat is laid in this triple yin-yang. This one here again, look at the outside of it. It looks very simple, very nice four-pointed star, but this wheat on the outside ring has got wave structure to it. Then we have this one. This is the first crop circle I've ever seen that does not finish itself. They placed this one in the wrong part of the field. They forgot part of it, right? Look at this. Because here they go, and look, we got a bunch of cows over here. They're saying, where's our part of the circle? You know? But we found the interpretation of this again as the fact that we had a total solar eclipse on this point and a partial lunar eclipse at this point. So it was another way to look at the sun and the earth with the new and the full moons. And we look at those cows again. They're all just standing around talking, seeing why they didn't get their part of the circle over there. Because you see over here we got humans in the crop circle, and these are the cows over here. This again is telling us about a solar type cycle of the sun and the moon and earth traveling together. Because here we have the moon going on the two sides of the various eclipses. And we have again the C-SETI, or the triangular formation, that they're trying to tell us that they're in communication with us with this triangle. And they have this little part up here like it's going on further or something else. Here again we have the wave pattern that's laid down in those fields. Notice they left the center standing. So the very center of this circle is standing up like this. Here's a very beautiful circle. It looks like these are either possibly Indian rattles, or I took it to be like a special snowflake effect, where it has 12 parts to it, the water now, a doubling of the water versus 6 in the normal snowflakes. And this one was like taken from a church, because this is a rose window on August 12th. And again, if you look at the center of this, it's very nicely manicured. All these little parts are standing up. There's actually 52 and 56 dashes around this part of the circle. And the average of that is 54. And the book that I read has 54 Keys of Enoch to it.